Hey everybody, I am Zen and I am a graphic designer based in La Trinidad, Philippines. I will be posting the link to my resume on the description of this video so you can check out the works I have previously done already. I would just like to share some notes about graphic design. In this video, my goal is to just share some notes about graphic design. Nakikita ko kasi na graphic design along with video editing um, is becoming more in demand. Some skills that are becoming more in demand these days. So I've heard from a colleague how he described video editing as one of the fields that is starting to become promising. And I hope this video can help. And later on, if I have time, I will see if I can also do a video about video editing. Yay! Okay, so the first uh, the first thing that I would like to talk about first, kasi first thing is is this question. Kasi most of the time, pag binanggit mo ang graphic design, natatakot na agad ang mga iba kasi it is always linked with Photoshop, InDesign, Illustrator, Corel, big softwares. So, pag sinabi mong graphic design, ibig sabihin, dapat marunong kang mag-Photoshop, mag-Illustrator, mag-Corel. So, the question is that true? Well, the answer to this question is no. Kasi, um, no, kasi kailangan mo munang aralin yung elements and principles of design before you can efficiently use Photoshop and InDesign. So, parang tools lang si Photoshop at saka InDesign. They are not the end all and the be all of design. So, they are tools of design. Um, if you know the basic elements and principles of design, you can use even the Microsoft Office softwares to do design. So you can use PowerPoint, you can use um, Microsoft Word uh, to create your designs. I would like to use this analogy, na kunwari, ikaw ay isang surgeon, you are the designer, you are the surgeon. Kunwari, the designer is a surgeon, tapos yung Photoshop at saka InDesign is yung surgeon's knife. So, dapat maalam ka muna sa katawan ng tao bago mo gagamitin yung surgeon's knife. Or else, baka hindi ka magiging efficient na surgeon, 'di ba? So, that's how I would like to relate the connection of graphic design with Photoshop and InDesign and Corel. Yun. Although hindi naman talaga masama si Photoshop, but yeah, this is not putting InDesign and Photoshop under a bad light. Kasi once you gain experience, once you familiarized yourself with the elements of design, the principles of design, um, and then you learn Photoshop and InDesign at mga yun, your life would be easier as a designer. Lalo na pag malalaki na yung mga projects mo at madami na yung mga projects mo. Yun. Siyempre, kakailanganin mo yung mga gamit ng professional. So, balik tayo dito. The most important purpose of design is to send a message. If the message is not communicated correctly, then the design is a failure. Most of the time kasi, we understand graphic design as kailangan maganda. So, hindi rin naman masama yung maganda. Kasi, maganda is expensive, di ba? High budget. But it kailangan maganda at the same time functional dapat yung design mo. At wag na wag kang lalayo doon sa pinaka-important na purpose of design. It is to send a message. And yeah, if you did not communicate the message correctly, then your design is a failure. Kahit gaano pa siya kaganda. Parang ganon. For example, if you see this, it took me a while, parang nag-internet explorer muna yung brain ko. Medyo umikot muna siya. Nag-lag. It took me a while to find, I mean, to realize what makes this design funny or what makes this design a failure. If you look at it, naka-apply lahat dyan yung mga elements and principles of design that I would be talking about later. So, andyan yung space, yung size, hierarchy, emphasis, yun, scale, mga ganun. Andyan na lahat siya. Pero, yung message niya, mukhang hindi na ano, kasi sabi niya, not your average shoe store. Sabi niya. Gusto niyang sabihin siguro is, hindi siya yung regular na store na pinupuntahan mo. Kasi unique yung soles at saka unique yung soles. So, 'di ba? May wordplay pa siya doon sa baba. Pero kasi parang kinross lang niya yung line na average, kinross out niya yung word na average, I mean. Tapos ang basa na pag i-cross out mo yung average, not your shoe store. So ibig sabihin ibig na yung purpose mo is to attract people, I mean invite people to visit that store. You just told them to not visit the store because it's not your shoe store. 'Di ba? So funny. I don't know if it would. Next, I'm going to talk about elements of design. First is space. So space is also called the white space or negative space because it is not always white. But a white space is not an empty space. So, ganito yun. Parang, sabihin na lang natin na ang space is the breathing space for the eye of the reader because when you do graphic design, you should also look at your design from the perspective of your prospective reader or viewers. That's why you have also to take into consideration their comfort. So, um, if if pagbuklat mo pa lang nakita mo ng super text heavy ang isang page or ang isang libro, syempre may tendency na matatamad na yung magbabasa or yung magiging viewer kasi it's very text heavy nga. So parang uh, yun yung effect if there is an absence of a white space or a negative space. For example, on the left spread, you can see that it is very compact. It's very text heavy. While on the beside it, you could see that there are breathing spaces allocated. So you can see the difference, right? It's more attractive to look at the spread with breathing spaces or white spaces. So the one encircled in red, those are the white spaces or the breathing spaces. Okay. Next element is the line. So literally a line. So, but it could be curved, dotted, broken, etc. So that it can form sophisticated visuals or it can help organize um, your the one that you are designing. So for me, I like the use of lines when we make timelines. So when you are telling the story of what happened first in January and then in March we did this, you could maximize the use of lines. The next element is the shape. So a shape is simply a line with a closed form. So you could simply say that A shape is the shape as we know it. The square, rectangle, polygon, and in graphic design, shapes can be symbolic. So a circle may convey continuity and grace, while a rectangle may convey formality and honesty. Um, Most of the iconic shapes we know is the square. So, nakita mo pa lang yung yellow na rectangle pala. Kahit wala na yung National Geographic, once you see a um, yellow rectangle, lalo na to ay naka-superimpose sa isang picture na nature, malamang most people would think of National Geographic. So, ganun na ka-iconic yung yellow rectangle, di ba? And just imagine the cover of Time magazine without the red frame. So, yun, shape din yun. So, yun ang effect ng shape sa graphic design. Size, also known as scale or mass. So, larger elements in a page draws more attention, so size matters when you want to put emphasis or create a hierarchy. For example, dito sa spread doon muna sa taas, they wanted to give an emphasis on a quote from a person or a quote from the article, so they enlarge it. Okay? And then the earlier example that I gave is the shoe store poster. Okay, so uh, you could observe that some texts are bigger than the other. So that means that they are trying to emphasize the bigger text. The designer wants you to read the text with the bigger size first, okay, before you read the smaller one. So that's how size can have an effect on your graphic design. Texture, texture as we know it is whether it's rough or smooth. You can also mimic texture in your graphic design. If we make a design, okay, whether it is going to be printed or it is going to be circulated digitally, like in social media platforms, you know that it's going to be viewed in a flat surface. So texture is how you mimic um, real life texture, right? So like in a flat surface, how can you create the illusion that it is 3D, it is two-dimensional or three-dimensional? So, it's kind of hard to explain pala. And texture can be created by repeating lines or shapes in a continuous manner. If you're going to use professional softwares like Photoshop and InDesign, but I think also available in it is also available in PowerPoint and even in Microsoft Word, and it is even prettier the one they have at PowerPoint. You know, you could insert shadows, um, glue those effects so that you can create the two-dimensional or three-dimensional appearance like this one. So you could observe that the one that looks like a structure, it has a shadow. So when you put a shadow on a visual element in your design, it gives the 3D effect. Okay. So on the other side naman, you can see that it gives the smooth texture effect because of the curvy lines that has been put on the visual. Okay. Value refers to tones of light and dark. Value is simply the contrast of the visuals in your page. Okay. Dito na lumalabas yung aside from maganda yung design mo, dapat functional din siya. Minsan kasi, our design can be affected by the budget of the project we are given. So, if your client would say, I can only afford to print this material in black and white, you have to design your you have to design the material in considering that it will be printed in black and white. So, uh, pag ganun yun, kailangan maayos yung value ng design mo para ma-appreciate siya kahit even if it's in black and white. And you also don't know if you're designing a logo and then you design it only to be appreciated in colored, or there's a tendency that the beauty of the logo will not be appreciated if it is being presented in a black and white media or channel. Madali sigurong maintindihan, or so to make it a bit more clearer, this is a spread. If you look at the left one, that is the original spread. You could see there the colors. Okay. Uh, at first glance, I thought the value will not be appreciated even if it's in black and white, but it was converted to grayscale. Nakita nyo na okay pa rin yung value niya or yung contrast niya. So, kung kahit i-print mo yan, mapa-colored man or black and white man, mariretain pa rin yung function niya at saka yung ganda niya. Okay. Color is very essential to design. It plays a major role in making your design attractive and organized. In many cultures, color symbolizes many different things. However, if you mess up with colors, the result could be tragic. So, parang makeup yan. Pag hindi mo naayos yung color combination ng makeup sa mukha mo, may tendency na imbes na nag-makeup ka kasi gusto mong gumanda, parang lalo ka pang hindi gumanda, parang ganun. So, we have to be very careful with color. Ako rin nung una, takot na takot ako sa color. Kasi takot ako maging baduy yung project ko. You also have to be familiar with the meaning of color in many cultures. Like, in other countries, white is a symbol of mourning, while in others it is black. Dito sa Pilipinas, if I'm not mistaken, in some places, you should not wear bright colors in a funeral. So, parang i-apply mo din yun sa projects mo in the future. So for example, pinag-layout ka ng memorial tarpaulin, nasa sayo na din yun kung ano yung pipiliin mong mga color. It would be nice to consult the family members, which are your clients also, about the colors that they prefer. Yun. And now, I'm going to talk about color schemes using the color wheel so that we have a guide in combining colors or in choosing colors. Before I show you the color schemes, I would like to emphasize that, again, this is not the be-all and end-all of color combinations. Complementary colors. Complementary colors are those colors that are opposite each other in the color wheel. So, for example, red, violet is complementary with yellow, green. Okay, so you can use that in your project. You can combine red, violet, and yellow, green because according to the color wheel, they are complementary colors. You can also use the four colors from two complementary pairs. So, ang tawag doon is the tetradic or the rectangle. So, violet, red, green, and yellow could be one color scheme, a set of a color scheme for your project. Analogous colors are colors that are next to each other in the color wheel. So, it is also safe to use colors that are next to each other like blue violet, violet, and red violet. So violet naman silang lahat. Like red, red, orange, orange. Yun. Orange naman silang lahat. So they are analogous colors and you can use them as a color scheme or a motif of your project. Triadic is the colors evenly spaced from each other in the color wheel. And I think it also got its name, triadic, from the shape that it creates. So, basta, red violet is 2 shades or 3 shades away from blue green, and blue green is 3 shades away from orange yellow. So, yun, 3 shades away din si orange, ay yellow-orange kay red-violet. So, meaning, red-violet, yellow-orange, and blue-green could go together as triadic colors. Yung square naman, yung square colors, squaric, bakit hindi niya tinawag na squaric din ito? Kasi yung triangle, tinawag nilang triadic. Yung square is similar sa rectangle. So, pinag-pair nila yung magkatapat na complementary colors. Yun lang, like the triadic, kailangan even din yung space ng mga colors away from each other. So, like violet is 2 colors away from red-orange, and red-orange is 2 colors away from yellow. Yellow is 2 colors away from blue-green. Yon. So, yung magkakabagay na kulay dito is violet, red-orange, yellow, and blue-green. Okay? Next, we have what we call the split complementary colors. So, the two adjacent colors of the complementary color. So, for example, red, its complementary color is green. So, you also get the yellow-green and the blue-green as the adjacent colors, and you get the split complementary set of colors. So, ang magkakabagay dito according to the, as split complementary colors are red, blue-green, green, and yellow-green. And that's it. That's how you uh, use the color wheel as a basis of coming up with your color scheme. Of course, um, it is, as I mentioned earlier, it is not the be all and end all of matching colors. If you research, you will see that even if they are not complementary colors or analogous colors in the color wheel, you see them combined. So, as long as you can do it in taste and with the approval of your client, then you can experiment as much as you can. But at least you already know the existence of these complementary and triadic colors. The essence here is there is this saying that before you break the rules, you have to know them. Okay, so now you know the rules. It's up to you how you can break them. um, I've mentioned earlier that I was very scared of combining colors. So when I was at that stage of combining colors, I always use the monochromatic color scheme, which is you just use one color but in various values. Dark yellow and then lighter yellow until the lightest yellow. There. So that you can never go wrong. Yun lang, medyo baka masacrifice yung value mo. That's why you have to still look at, uh, you have to face the scary part of combining colors. Sometimes it is also when I'm playing safe, when I'm playing really, really safe, if you combine any color in its darkest value, combine it with white, that's also very safe. Any color goes well with white. Iyon. And I would like to talk about principles of design, but it seems that I'm running out of time. So I'm going to save this for the next video. So I hope I'll also see you there.